you a question. Would you vote Bola in 2027?
Well, Mr. Firm, I must admit one thing very clear that my membership, in as much as I cannot exclude myself from the national, but my membership currently is more within the state level, right? The national activities, the national politics for now.
Everybody at the national started from the state.
Obviously.
So you are starting from the state. Answer the question. Would you vote Bola in 2027?
Well, until then, Mr.
You're not even sure of the party you belong to.
It's not about. I'm not sure. Let's
what are
see
you
how,
doing there?
Let's see how the yes, he's receiving this endorsement to be the sole candidate. But then again, let's see how it all pans out.
If peterobi pans out with Bola, who would you vote for? It's taking you a time to answer, sir.
Well, Mr. Firm, it's not taking me time really. It's not taking me time per se, but it's not about the fact, like I said, till then. Let's see how the ticket.
You already know the person of peterobi. You have already known the person of president. Now, if the election is tomorrow, who would you vote for? Simple.
We'll go to the fully unit and see how it's going to start it out. Mr. Firm.
All right, everyone, you are still listening to Choice 97.4 Radio Without Borders. Don't mind us. We try to put all those things in between just to, make sure we keep flowing even. But then we are talking about what is playing in the national level, especially with regards to who becomes our vice president if Bola is returned. Speculations everywhere that Mr. President has no intention to return the incumbent vice president on the grounds that, according to what Daniel just told us here, he might not have, be giving him what he wants, and apparently may not give him the national coloration again for him to go into 2027. Now, Barrister Daniel, we received an intel that Mr. President is warming up to replace to replace Shetima with Nuhu Ribado, the National Security Advisor, considering the fact that Atiku is a figure in Adamawa State, who evidently will be contesting the next election. And of course, Nuhu Ribado is from Adamawa State, to give him a run to make sure that the vote of the Northeast, is sharply divided. Believing that Nuhu Ribado will give him what he wants more, based on calculations, though, political calculations made, that Nnewi Ribado stands a better chance of unseating the current vice president if Bola Tinubu is re-elected. That's still Muslim ticket, because when the news first broke that Mr. President wants to jettison Shetima, people were saying, okay, maybe he wants to go Muslim Christian. But then with the news of Nnewi Ribado coming into the picture, questions begin to fly. No Muslim ticket again, but still the Northeast, after all. Borno and Adamawa are still Northeast. But then Mr. President, he said, speculatively rather, to be going Shetima, to be going Nuhu Ribado. What do you think that could have played out that led to Mr. President evidently losing faith in the person of his current deputy?
All right, on the issue of losing confidence in the person of Shetima, a similar thing played out during the second tenure of Buhari, wherein somehow we noticed
he attempted to change
what looked like a sidelining of Osibanjo and all of that. Well, to a large extent, I see it more of political thing. It's just about politics, to the extent that the president having the sole power, even constitutionally, that his functions are as delegated by the president and all of that. And so, that being the case, he could, for personal interest, do you
think that Shetima is not doing his job effectively as the vice president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria?
For the couple of months that, after their elections and all of that, we saw a number of representations and all of that he did, and they weren't all that bad. So, but then again, there is no clear cut out reason in the public space that we could lay hands on to say, okay, this is why Mr. President is going this way. But at the end of the day, all we can lay on it is the fact that, okay, he probably feels this is not the best way to go.
Okay, talking about what is in the public place, let me remind you, when this tax reform bill was submitted to the National Assembly, we remember I received a lot of backlash, especially from the North.
Yes.
And of course, the governor of Borno State made a categorical statement. He told Mr. President, this is anti-North. It's anti-North. If this must fly, then there must be consequences. It was specific. He told Mr. President, you could use your power as a president to pass this to the National Assembly, but there must be consequences. It's not the first time. When there was flooding in Borno State, Borno governor, Professor Zulum, came out and said that the federal government has left the people of Borno to their fate. No deployment of relief materials, and killings happened by Boko Haram. He said that Mr. President is not living up to expectation as it is security of this nation, citing but a few. Now, some of these things coming from Borno governor, whose brother and predecessor is the vice president. Working under the Senate administration, he's been criticizing back to back. And the vice president had not been able to caution Professor Zulu. Stop pedo. How dare you tell Mr. President that there will be consequences? That is an affront. That's a confrontation. Mr. President, if you want to do this, it's okay. But have it in mind that there shall be consequences. And Borno governor said all these things without Shetima meddling, trying to soft pedal, trying to calm him down. When Ahmed Hakim left the cabinet of Bola, Professor Zulum applauded it that the North had been marginalized, and he was right to have left the cabinet of Bola, leaving a government that marginalizes his people. But Professor Zulum is APC. His predecessor, his friend, when Shetima was the governor of Borno State, he made him a commissioner. From commissioner, he supported him, he became a governor. And the question is, your political boy, is bombarding your master, Shetima. And you have not for one day cautioned him. Stay silent. Because if cautioned him, even if not in the public, he wouldn't have continued. Each time a matter comes, he comes heavy on the president. And you are the vice president, and your son, back from the state, is messing it up. Your senator is always on the president's neck. That is Alin Dume. Always bombarding Mr. President. He called Mr. President a kakistocrat, that he's running a kakistocratic system of government of the less informed. That's what it means. So by indirectly, he said that Mr. President is gullible. He said that Mr. President is less informed because kakistocracy is government of the less informed, just like democracy is government of the people. So kakistocracy is the government of the less informed. So Alin Dume specifically said that the present crop of leaders we have at National Assembly are kakistocrats, that is less informed. When you come to a group of people, you pick the most, that is the most illiterates. That's what Alin Dume stated. He is your senator. He bombarded Mr. President, calling him a less informed person. You didn't say anything. Your government is always on the neck of Mr. President to hang him. You have never cautioned your son, the governor, or your senator, Borno South. Some of these things, speculatively, could have
weighed on the mind.
Evidently, to be, for Mr. President to say, even though this guy is working for me, he's not for me. Because his people, apparently, he's even the one igniting them. Do you think these are enough for Mr. President to jettison Shetima and go for someone else?
First, let me start by saying that we must appreciate the fact that all of these individuals, they're entitled to their opinion. This is their right to criticize the government in power.
And you can caution them.
Now, talking about caution, there's very little or not so much that the caution of the vice president would have done.
But at least you have tried.
So to my mind, I do not really, it will not be completely in place for all of those to be part of what probably had informed Mr. President's decision. That's my take on it.
Mm.
It will be out of place because these are adults. For instance, the governor of the state, he's an executive governor, and then he's independent to a large extent, and so he's entitled
Maybe
to.
Soludo, he's not APC governor, doesn't attack Ebola the way Zulum attacks him.
Well, yes, certainly. It all boils down again to what you feel, your perception about an individual. From whom do you think your interest could be best protected? That's the bottom line.
So what is the problem?
The problem, essentially, to my mind, is the fact that they perceive, because before all of these attacks began to come up, you notice that even there had been the place of, if you like, the redundance on the part of the vice president. And so, to my mind, I feel those are part of the, things that.
In what aspect? Where has it been redundant?
In terms of functionality and all of that, it's just been there.
Is he not doing his job?
Well, we rarely see him, probably having to appear with it. Like the last time Mr. President, was in had to go for the inauguration of the Pope and all of that. It was the son that went to him, and so most of key functions that
was he invited and he told Mr. President he won't be coming.
What? Not exactly.
And why would Mr. President pick his son to such an important event, not his deputy?
So that's part of what we're talking about. That all of these somewhat sidelining of the vice president could be part of things that tend to impugn on the mind of his people and then making them to speak up. But essentially, it all boils down.
So why is Mr. President sidelining the vice?
Well, it is for who he is. It's just his personal decisions, and then
he's a sideliner.
Well, I wouldn't.
You said it is who he is.
Well, not. It's about his person in the sense of what he wishes to do, but we may not necessarily call him a sideliner.